He was asleep, in his own bed, in his own home, right beside the woman he had married, right beside the woman he trusted with everything. He never opened his eyes again, and while his body was still warm, she was already rehearsing what she would say. When the police knocked on the door, she had the tears prepared. She had the wounds prepared. She had rehearsed the story so many times in her head it felt like a script she knew by heart. There was just one thing she had not planned for, one thing she could not control: the rain. That is what broke this case wide open. Not a confession, not a witness, not a surveillance camera, just rain. And what it left behind. Wherever you are watching this right now, drop a comment and tell me what city or country are you watching from, and what time is it where you are right now. I want to know who is out there with me tonight. And if you are new to this channel, welcome to Midnight Case Files. Hit that subscribe button and stay close, because tonight's story does not let go easy. It was the last day of August 2010, late summer in Minnesota, the kind of night that starts warm but turns restless by midnight, and by 2 in the morning, the sky had opened up completely. Zen, heavy, hard, the kind that soaks through everything and turns dry ground into thick, clinging mud. Just before 4 o'clock in the morning, Blue Earth County Emergency Dispatch received call. A woman, a private residence on the outskirts of Lake Crystal. Her voice was shaking. Officers were there within minutes. They arrived to find Jennifer Nibby standing in the house, the wife of the man who lived there. She was bleeding from both legs. Her hands were trembling. Her face was streaked with tears, and she told them a story. She said a stranger had broken into their home, a man she had never seen before. He came in through the back. He attacked her. She fought back, she said. She struggled with him the best she could. But somehow in the middle of all of that, her husband, 26-year-old James Nibby, had been shot. Officers moved through the house. They found James in the bedroom, still in bed, exactly where he had been when he fell asleep. He had been killed by a single shot to the head from a 20-gauge shotgun. The weapon was recovered near the scene. It belonged to Jennifer. She explained that too. She had left the shotgun outside in the backyard the night before, after some target practice earlier that evening. The intruder, she told police, must have found it out there and used it on his way inside. It was a painful story to hear. A husband shot in his sleep. A wife left bleeding and traumatized. A stranger who had vanished into the rainy dark. But from the very first minutes inside that house, something was pulling at the edges of her story. Something small at first. Something that the rain had made impossible to ignore. Crime scene technicians arrived and began working the property from the outside in. The ground around the house told them something immediately. All through the night, rain had been hammering the soil around every entry point of that home. By the time officers showed up, the earth around every door, every window, every path to that house was not just wet. It was thick, heavy, saturated mud. The kind that grabs your shoes. The kind that sticks. The kind that you cannot walk through without carrying it with you. So the technicians asked themselves a very simple question. If a man had come in from outside, through that mud, in that rain, in the middle of the night, where did he go once he got inside? They checked the entryway. They checked the hallway floors. They checked every inch of that light-colored bedroom carpet. Not a single muddy footprint. Not one smear of moisture. Not one trace anywhere inside that house that any person had walked in from outdoors that night. Not one. Then they looked at the shotgun. Jennifer had told police this gun had been sitting outside in the backyard through a full night of rain. When technicians picked it up and examined it, that weapon was completely dry. Not damp, not slightly wet around the barrel. Completely dry, inside and out. No moisture, no mud residue, nothing. A gun that had sat outside all night in a rainstorm. Does not look like that. And investigators knew exactly what it meant. That shotgun had never been outside. And if the shotgun had never been outside, then no intruder had ever picked it up from the backyard. And if no intruder had come through that mud, then the person who fired that weapon had been inside the house the whole time. The scene had been staged, every detail of it, constructed carefully by someone who had planned ahead, but who had not thought hard enough about what the rain would say. When a medical examiner turned attention to the cuts on Jennifer's legs, the wounds she had pointed to as proof of her struggle, what the examination revealed was something entirely different from what she had claimed. The cuts were straight, evenly spaced across the skin, each one made with the same controlled amount of pressure. In forensic science, there is a term for wounds that look like this. They are called hesitation marks. It is a well-documented pattern. It appears when wounds are not inflicted in a sudden, chaotic moment, but when they are placed carefully, deliberately, by someone who is in control of what they are doing. In a real, physical struggle, when a person is fighting for their life against an attacker, the wounds left on their body are unpredictable. The cuts change direction. The depth jumps from shallow to deep. The body is moving, the attacker is moving, and that chaos gets recorded in the skin. Jennifer's legs showed none of that. Each cut had been made with intention. Each one was almost exactly like the one beside it. And there was something else. There are no defensive wounds on her arms. When a person is attacked, when someone comes at them with a weapon, the natural instinct is to throw up your arms, to block, to deflect. Those moments leave marks. Jennifer's arms were clean. Then the bedroom told its own story. She had described a violent confrontation with an intruder, a physical struggle intense enough to explain her wounds. But when technicians looked at that bedroom, it looked like nothing had happened in it at all. Furniture was where it belonged. Items on the nightstands were sitting exactly where they had been left. Nothing had been knocked over. Nothing was broken. Nothing was out of place. And James, ballistics confirmed the shot had been fired at point-blank range, pressed directly against his head while he was horizontal. He had not moved. There were no defensive marks on his forearms. No sign that his body had reacted at all. The autopsy conclusion was clear. James Nibby had been asleep when he was killed. He did not know it was coming. He did not feel it. He died in his sleep, in his own home, in his own bed. And the person who fired that shot was never a stranger. Let me tell you who James was. Because in cases like this one, the person who is lost can get buried under the details of the person who took them. James Melvin Nibby was born on the 30th of October, 1983. He grew up in Vernon Center, Minnesota, a small, tight-knit rural community where people knew each other. He graduated from Welcome Memorial High School in 2002. People who knew James said the same things about him every time someone asked. He was grounded. He was present. He showed up. He was involved with Ducks Unlimited and the Garden City Club outdoor groups built around community, conservation, and the land. He worked in the contracting trade. Not glamorous work, honest work. The kind of work you do because you're building something real. Jennifer Gilman was 6 years older than James. At 16, she had become a single mother, and she had not walked away from that. She built a career as a registered nurse. She raised her son. In 2007, their paths crossed in the most unplanned of ways. James was helping a friend get medical care, and Jennifer was the nurse on duty that day. Something connected. They found out they both loved the outdoors. Hunting, open land, the kind of quiet that only nature gives you. When James decided he wanted to marry her, he went to Jennifer's teenage son first. He asked for his blessing. That is the kind of man he was. They married in May of 2008. To the people around them, neighbors, family, co-workers, they looked like a solid couple. United, grounded, working toward a shared life. That summer, just weeks before he died, James bought Jennifer a brand new shotgun as a gift. He picked it out for her. He paid for it with his own money. He gave it to her because he wanted her to have something she loved. He had no idea what would happen to it. He had no idea what it would become. From the outside, the Nibby household looked like it was holding together. Inside, it was falling apart. And James had no idea how bad it really was. When detectives pulled the couple's financial records, what they found was alarming. Jennifer was the main income earner. She was working 2 nursing positions at the same time. James was an apprentice electrician, working hard but earning less. And yet the money was gone. Not just stretched thin, gone. They had taken out a second mortgage on the property. Their credit card debt had reached critical levels. The accounts were drained. People close to Jennifer told investigators. She had been openly frustrated about the financial situation, that she felt like she was carrying everything, that the life she wanted was slipping further away every month. But the real story behind those empty accounts was not the income gap. When investigators dug deeper into Jennifer's professional records, They found something that explained everything. As a registered nurse, she had direct daily access to prescription medications. Internal records and her own admissions later confirmed that Jennifer had developed a severe dependency on prescription painkillers. She had been stealing pills from patients. She had been falsifying prescription forms to get her hands on opioids. And when investigators asked her how much she was taking, she told them between 100 and 180 pills a day, every single day. That level of dependency costs an enormous amount of money at a constant, relentless, escalating amount of money. It explained the drained savings, the second mortgage, the credit cards maxed out, the accounts that never recovered no matter how much came in. James believed the money problems were just circumstance, bad economy, hard years, problems they would work through together. He was still planning hunting trips, still talking about the future, still believing things were going to get better. He did not know the real reason their life was bleeding dry. He did not know the full weight of what Jennifer had been hiding. And by the summer of 2010, Jennifer had made a decision. There was one way to fix everything. $300,000, sitting in a life insurance policy with her name on it. All she had to do was collect. James Nibby carried a life insurance policy worth $300,000. Jennifer was the only named beneficiary. Investigators established that she was fully aware of that, aware of the value, aware of what it would mean, aware of exactly what she stood to gain. According to the prosecution's reconstruction of the months leading up to August 31st, 2010, Jennifer had not acted out of a sudden moment of rage. She had thought this through. She knew the layout of the house. She knew the bedroom. She knew the shotgun. She knew that if she did this right, if she built the right story around it, she could walk away clean. The plan involved four things: a staged crime scene, manufactured evidence of a struggle, self-inflicted wounds to support her story of being attacked, and a call to emergency services. Only after every piece of the scene had been prepared, what the prosecution would later show, step by step, in a courtroom, was that she had carried out each of those steps with a level of composure that told investigators this was not an impulsive act. This was calculated. Here is what prosecutors told the court happened. In the early morning hours of August 31st, 2010, in the time just before 4 o'clock, Jennifer took the 20-gauge shotgun, the gift that James had bought for her weeks before, and she walked into the bedroom where he was sleeping. He did not wake up. She fired once at point-blank range. James Nibby died instantly. He did not suffer. He did not know what was happening. And then Jennifer went to work. The first thing she did was her legs. Using a sharp object, she made a series of cuts along her own skin. Parallel, controlled, spaced carefully. The wounds she would later point to as proof that she had fought with an intruder. Forensic experts who examined those wounds noted that every cut had been made with deliberate control. She had managed the depth of each one. Then she moved through the bedroom, shifting furniture, moving items just enough to give the impression of chaos, just enough to make it look like something violent had happened there. Next, she took the shotgun outside and placed it in a specific spot in the backyard, a location shielded from the direct path of the rain, so that the weapon would stay dry, so that it would match the story she was about to tell. Then she turned her attention to the floors. She knew the mud outside was the biggest risk. She knew that one smear, one footprint, one trace of moisture on those light-colored floors would end everything. So she made certain there was none. She wiped. She checked. She made sure that nothing from the world outside had followed her in. Only after all of that was done, only after every piece of the scene matched the story in her head, did she pick up the phone and call 911. By the time the first patrol car pulled up to the house, she was in position, the grieving, traumatized wife, bleeding, shaking, ready to be believed. A later investigative reconstruction showed that every one of those steps, from the moment the shot was fired to the moment the call was logged, had taken no more than 20 minutes. 20 minutes. That was the gap. 20 minutes to build a lie detailed enough to try to fool an entire investigation. When the case went to trial, the defense came in with two arguments. The first was domestic violence. The defense claimed James had been abusive throughout the marriage, and that what Jennifer had done had to be seen in that light. The prosecution responded with records, police records, medical records, testimony from neighbors and people close to them. There was not a single prior report of domestic aggression, not one complaint on file, not one documented incident. The second argument was stranger. During James's autopsy, an initial blood screening came back with a preliminary reactive result for a serious illness. Defense attorneys moved to introduce this into evidence, suggesting it pointed toward a secret life that could have put Jennifer in danger. The prosecution brought in medical experts who explained to the court exactly how preliminary post-mortem screenings work, how tissue breakdown, certain antibodies, and even a recent common vaccine can produce a reactive result that means absolutely nothing. Then the prosecution introduced something else. 2 months before he died, James had undergone a complete physical examination as part of his life insurance application. The test came back negative, fully negative. The prosecution told the court, and the jury appeared to understand, that raising the question of illness was not about protecting Jennifer. It was about putting a dead man on trial. It was about damaging the name of someone who could not stand up and speak for himself anymore. A psychiatric evaluation confirmed Jennifer was legally competent. Her ability to calmly inflict precise wounds on her own body and to stage a crime scene methodically in under 20 minutes directly contradicted any claim that she had acted in a moment beyond her control. The court found that her actions had been calculated, financially motivated, fully deliberate. In July of 2012, nearly 2 years after James Nibby was killed, the case reached its conclusion. The prosecution extended a plea agreement. The primary charge was reduced from first-degree premeditated murder to second-degree murder. In open court, Jennifer accepted. She acknowledged, formally and on the record, that she had taken her husband's life. The judge sentenced her to 25 years in prison. Under Minnesota law, she became eligible for supervised release. After serving 2/3 of that sentence, 15 years. The court also ordered that wages she earned while incarcerated be directed toward reimbursing the cost of James's funeral, a total that exceeded $11,000. Prosecutors, during sentencing, made clear that the punishment was meant to reflect both the weight of what had been done and the cold, deliberate way it had been carried out. James's family was in that courtroom when the sentence was read. Legal closure and real closure are two different things. The Nibby family learned that the hard way. At sentencing, James's sister delivered a statement. She described what she saw in that courtroom as a complete absence of remorse. Jennifer became emotional, she said, but only when the conversation turned to her own sentence. Not when the conversation was about James. The court had ordered Jennifer to pay over $11,000 in restitution to the family for funeral costs through money earned while incarcerated. As of the most recent available reports, not one payment has come through. Not a single dollar has reached the Nibby family. James's father could not recover from what happened to his son. The grief, combined with years of legal disputes with Jennifer over personal belongings and property, wore him down completely. He passed away in September of 2011. The family then discovered that Jennifer had blocked them from burying father and son together on the family plot. They had to file a formal petition with the cemetery board just to get permission to alter the burial arrangements. Only after that long legal process were James and his father finally laid to rest side by side. The fight over James's belongings kept going. It took until 2022, 12 years after James was killed for his family, to finally recover the guest book from his own funeral. Jennifer's relatives had held onto it at her instruction for over a decade. A guest book from a funeral. The Nibby family did not stop fighting when the courtroom closed. They pushed for something to change. And in the state of Minnesota, something did. The law that bears James's name. James's law became a legal precedent designed specifically to prevent what this family went through. Its purpose is to stop a convicted spouse from controlling the assets of the person they were convicted of harming, from managing their estate, from blocking personal belongings from being transferred to the victim's surviving family. It is a law written out of grief. but it will protect families in Minnesota for as long as it stands. A scholarship was also established in James's name, the Outstanding Character Award. It is given every year to graduates of Welcome Memorial High School, the same school James attended, honoring the kind of person he was and the mark he left. According to records from the Minnesota Department of Corrections, Jennifer Nibby will become eligible to be reviewed for supervised release in August of 2027. She will be 50 years old at that point. James's family has made their position clear. No financial restitution, no expression of remorse, not a dollar paid, not a word of accountability offered. They do not believe the time has come. James Nibby was 26 years old. He was a man who asked a teenage boy for permission before he proposed to the boy's mother. He was a man who bought his wife a gift because he wanted her to have something she loved. He was a man who went to sleep in his own house, trusting the person lying beside him. He never woke up, and that is the part of this story that stays with you long after it ends. Not the forensics, not the courtroom. The fact that a 26-year-old man closed his eyes in a place he felt completely safe and was never given the chance to open them again. The rain that fell that night, the same rain Jennifer was counting on to fade into the background, ended up being the only witness that could not be staged, could not be coached, could not be silenced. It told the truth that she had carefully tried to bury. It told the truth that her own hands could not cover. Up.it told the truth that James himself could no longer speak. And because of it, James Nibby got something that was almost taken from him completely. He got justice. Not perfect justice. Not the kind that brings someone back, but the kind that puts the truth on the record, that says clearly and permanently, this happened, and here is who did it. And the world is not going to look away. Now, wherever you are right now, leave a comment below. Tell me what country or city you're watching from. Tell me what time it is where you are as you watch this, that I read every single one. If this story moved you, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to Midnight Casefiles yet, right now is the moment. Because every case on this channel is a real person. Every name is worth saying. Every story is worth telling. We do not cover cases just to fill time, but we cover them because real people live them. Real families carry them. And as long as we keep watching, keep sharing, keep talking, those names do not disappear. James Nibby will not disappear. I will see you in the next one. Midnight Casefiles.